Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to ask the Treasury Minister what his policy is on ensuring the income tax regime on the Isle of Man is fair to all and transparent.
Mr. Treasury, Mr. Cannon to reply.
Mr. President, I'm committed to ensuring that our income tax regime, whilst contributing sustainable government revenue, is fair and administered in accordance with the statute approved by this honourable court. It must also support economic growth, including maintaining the island's competitiveness as an attractive place to live, work and carry out business. We must ensure transparency in the context of the regime being easy to understand and to comply with. Furthermore, we must continue to take all necessary steps in order that the island's reputation for transparency and effective exchange of information for tax purposes remains of the highest order.
Supplementary, Mr. Cretney.
In the context of providing the best public services, which I think we all are committed to, does he consider that the existing system is sustainable in the long term?
Reply, sir.
Mr. President, yes, in short terms, I do consider that the system is sustainable in the long term, international events permitting. Let's be absolutely clear that in the last two budgets under this government, we have very successfully, I would suggest, raised personal allowances from £10,500 to £13,250, an increase of 26%. We've taken some 5,000 individuals out of the scope of income tax, and as a result of these measures, almost all our families are better off by £350 if you're an individual, or £700 in the case of a jointly assessed couple. In addition, Mr. President, we've written off £95 million of debt from our electricity, the MUA debt, reducing the bills for our customers, residents and consumers. We've increased child benefit over the last two budgets. We've increased employed persons allowance over the last two budgets. We've put another £1.5 million into preschool credits, giving those, particularly in lower paid families, better access to preschools. So I think, Mr. President, that overall the income tax system is working, it's performing above budget, we've got more people in work, we're creating more jobs, we've reduced unemployment to some of its lowest levels for over almost 20 years, and I think that the income tax system, as it's currently standing, is doing its job and is funding appropriately the public services necessary to maintain and keep this island and promote this island as a successful island and one that will promote healthy living and be a good place to consider working, living and raising your children.
Supplementary, Mr. Cretney.
Thank the Honourable Member for that update, which is obviously very helpful and something which we all appreciate. Does he consider that the gap between ourselves and neighbouring jurisdictions in relation to standard families is narrowing than it has done in the past?
Minister to reply.
Mr. President, I'm very conscious that the impact of the financial crisis in 2008 and its subsequent knock-on effects in a number of areas has caused significant pressures on the cost of living for those with low to middle income families. Now, doing direct comparisons with specific regions is always difficult, but I think the important point is that we've recognised those pressures and are doing what we can to ensure that we are putting as much money back into the pockets of those families as possible, to those individuals and to those families, and that I think there is a clear level of concern in that area, and that we have been pursuing clear policies, including other external policies such as raising the minimum wage requirements and discussions around the living wage, that we are pursuing policies that will help the island maintain a progressive approach, trying to stay ahead of its competition, particularly when comparing it like for like with certain regions within the United Kingdom.